2024 should be a good year for the Ohio State Buckeyes.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We are less than 2 weeks into the new year. Ohio State has had a lot of good news come out lately, and there'll be more good news coming your way very, very soon. Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to a Friday edition of Locked On Buckeyes here on Friday, January 12th in the year 2024. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Joining us today on a Friday, it's Corey Thompson, a part of the crew over at Ohio State Football with Scarlett and Great on the YouTube. And Corey, there's been a lot of good news coming out of Columbus this week. I am excited. Emeka Egbuka is back for Ohio State in 2024, and that addition and really commitment for him to be in Columbus one more year is huge for the Ohio State offense to take another step forward to be better in the upcoming season.
Love it, love it, love it. Injury-plagued year for Emeka. Obviously an extremely talented player, will be a stud at the next level, but it was a good decision for him to come back. He'll make plenty of money in NIL. We all know that. He deserves it too, and hopefully he can stay healthy this year and showcase what he can do with a new quarterback and Will Howard. You know what? It's been an exciting offseason, all the players that are coming back, and he's just another cherry on the top.
You know, it's weird that we're at this point of the offseason in January, this beginning of the offseason now, and there's been so much coming in at one time. Tyleik Williams staying. Michael Hall Jr. gone. Donovan Jackson staying. Jordan Hancock staying. Talk about Denzel Burke. He's staying as well. All of those are great and huge, and we could talk a long time about each of those players and their importance for the Buckeyes in 2024. But for the receivers, you have a new quarterback in Will Howard, and he's going to need some guys on the outside that he can trust. Emeka Egbuka is one of those guys you can trust. I only think he's really staying, Corey, because he got hurt this year. That hurt his draft stock. I think if he didn't get hurt and he played Emeka Egbuka football, he'd be off to the NFL, just like Marvin Harrison Jr., who declared just a day ago that he's entering the NFL draft. I think Will Howard is going to find that he has a friend in Emeka Egbuka in the fall.
Yeah, security blanket, just a steady Eddie, a guy who obviously is very talented. He can do big things, but it's a guy you can count on to be in the right place at the right time, run the right routes. Probably knows the offense better than even Will Howard will know it coming in. And again, I think being the fact that he knows the offense so well, knows exactly what he's supposed to do on the field. You know, he's for a quarterback coming in who's new to the offense, who's expected to start. Let's be real, Will Howard. I mean, I'm not saying it's a given just yet, but he's expected to. Will's going to need that security blanket. He's going to need that guy he can trust because Carnell Tate's still young. He hasn't really proven it yet. We all believe Carnell will be great. It's not that. Brandon Ennis, another young guy we believe will be great. Jeremiah Smith, I'll be honest with you. He runs down the field. I'm just throwing the ball up. It's like, hey, you'll go get it.
Kind of like Randy Moss.
Exactly. I think Jeremiah Smith is going to be Julio Jones, Randy Moss type. I mean, he's that freaking good. I think you'll see. I mean, he's going to be one freshman. Nobody will be complaining about not seeing playing time. So, yeah, but again, I think Emeka being back is so huge. He is the unequivocal leader of that wide receiver room. It's just good to have him back. I mean, look, Marvin made the right decision for himself. He's going to be a top 5 pick or whatever he's going to be. And he's going to have a freaky, combine. We all know that. But if he does a combine, maybe pro day, who knows? But anyway, we need that veteran leadership because next year it'd be Jeremiah Smith, Carnell Tate, Brandon Ennis kind of leading the room. Jaden Ballard's there; he's been there a while, but he's not really a leader of the room. So does maybe been behind the scenes, but not on the field.
Right.
So it becomes like I got a bunch of young guys, and so Emeka comeback is I think bigger than people. I mean, people are excited about it, but do they realize how big it is?
I don't think people do. I think people are kind of hype on Jordan Hancock, which I would have been.
I am too.
I am hype on him. I'm not shocked. I would have been shocked if he left for the NFL.
I agree. He's not quite there yet.
Yeah. No, not at all. And I hope, Corey, we don't have a Shaun Wade situation where come back, you're good at the nickel previously, the next year, go to the outside. Yeah. I don't think that's the best spot for him. I'm not saying he can't be good at it. Don't get me wrong. I think for the team to be the best it could be and for Hancock to be in the right spot for the team, play that nickel. Great against the run, which is huge. So you don't have to bring a bigger body in obvious run situations. But then also in pass coverage, dude, he's like, you can't do anything. Like you have Igman, you got Hancock, you got Burke. That's a phenomenal trio, and I think any school in the country would love to have that trio of corners on the field at one time. But go back to the Egbuka importance for the offense. It's huge, man. You just mentioned 3 young receivers. 2 will be sophomores. One's going to be a true freshman. Those 3, I do believe, will end up starting. They're going to need somebody to be a leader for them on the field, not just in the film room, not just on the practice field, but on the field on Saturday afternoons and evenings. Egbuka is going to be that guy for them. Hey, they're going to need to know, like, hey, I've never seen this look before. I saw it on film, but it's different on the field. How can I overcome that? Egbuka's there for that. Will Howard, we saw Kyle McCord trust Egbuka in a big moment against Notre Dame. I believe that moment's going to come up again, maybe a few more times in the fall. Will Howard can lean on Egbuka in those moments, just like Kyle McCord did that Saturday night at Notre Dame Stadium. It's huge, man. It's important. And even it's going to be huge for Heartline and recruiting. Like, hey, man, we got a guy who could have gone to the NFL draft, could have been picked, could have made a lot of money, but he wanted to stay here, and him staying here helped the young guys. Just great for everybody. You could be a 3-year guy, you could be a 4-year guy. It doesn't matter. It's huge for Egbuka, and I really think Ohio State's offense can take a step forward from where it was this past year with Egbuka on the field.
Yeah, I agree. And obviously, there's a lot of things that are out of Egbuka's control, like who are we going to hire as the offensive coordinator and stuff like that, and who's going to do play calling. There's a lot of stuff. But again, that's another thing. I'm not trying to jump ahead or anything, but if they're bringing in a new offensive coordinator with the play calling, I mean, you got to have those leaders, those veteran leaders to help your offense run. In fact, I mean, most coaches will tell you heard it from John Gruden on down the line, they like veteran leadership instead of just plugging in a bunch of young players. This is not Madden. You got to have kids on there who know what they're doing. But Emeka he's going to be voted a captain most likely, and he should. And on top of that, again, he's only 1,041 yards from being the all-time receiving yards leader for Ohio State.
Wow.
It's very doable. Very doable. So if he stays healthy, and Will Howard obviously depends on him because, he knows where he's supposed to be at the right time and all that good stuff. The chemistry can be developed between 2 veteran leaders there. And it's possible Emeka leaves as one of the, unsung hero wide receivers of Ohio State history. And I hope that for him. I really do. He deserves it.
Do you think that he could have a chance to go out and have a better year than who was it? Was it KJ Hill, Paris Campbell, whoever had a stupid amount of catches their final year?
Campbell had 90 catches one year. Yeah.
Do you think he could go out and have like a season like that, like be that important guy like Campbell was his last year in the Scarlet and Gray?
90 is a bit much.
It is
100. I mean, I could see a 75 type catch,
which is still a lot.
It's still a lot. And 1,200, 1,300 yards and like 8-9 touchdowns. I could see that with him for sure. Unless one of the younger kids just sprout up like we can't even wow, did not see that one coming.
Yeah,
I knew Tate would be good, but I didn't think he'd be Marvin Harrison already. He could absolutely have one of those steady Eddie years. I mean, again, Johnny says it all the time. Nobody really gives Emeka his due.
No.
Because even when Marvin was starting to really come alive in his sophomore year, Emeka was quietly having a freaking really good year, and nobody was really talking about it. And it's like Johnny would come to me like, nobody talks about Emeka, man. It's like he's got like 77 catches, like 13 or whatever it was. Like he's had an outstanding year, and he's a playmaker on top of everything else. And Emeka's dangerous in the slot too when they move him to the slot. So it's kind of like, can he have another quietly great year and finally get the flowers he deserves?
I think he can. Corey, you made a comment about veterans and veteran leadership previously. After the break, we're going to discuss that. Not about the receivers, but the team as a whole coming up and what they may do in next season with the leadership that they have. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. The NFL playoffs are almost here, and there is time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is so easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays. Find bets in the new Explore tab. Make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, which is the best way to find popular parlays, and more. And I know many of you are looking forward to watching the Browns play the Texans in the NFL playoffs. The Browns are currently 2.5-point favorites to beat the Texans in the NFL wildcard round this weekend. The over-under in that game is set at 44.5. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Corey, in college basketball, there was a trend. The one-and-done thing was something that was all over the place. John Calipari won a national championship using the one-and-done type of recruiting. I even think at one point in time, maybe even that season, you start 5 guys, you bring 5 guys off the bench, and it was just 5 and 5 and 5 and 5. And I'm like, what is he doing? Well, he has that much talent to be able to do that with the youth on the team. They even, I think, had 7 guys get drafted off that team as well. Guys that weren't even starting.
That was the Anthony Davis team, right?
It was. It was.
He's had an okay career. Yeah.
Just okay. That's a good way to put it. Sarcasm for Corey always comes out. But we also have seen recently in college basketball, the veteran leadership come out, and you need some older guys to win a national championship. Ohio State has trying to find a way to mix the portal, mix guys that are youth in high school recruiting, but also mix a little veteran leadership as well on the team. You bring in a veteran, experienced quarterback in Will Howard. You got a lot of your guys that were starters, not just this past year, in the previous year as well. And Donovan Jackson, 26 straight starts. All that veteran leadership core is going to be huge for Ohio State to reach all their goals that they want to reach in 2024. And I said it on the other day, Corey, I don't set their goals. They do. And they make them very vocal. Beat Michigan, win the Big Ten championship, win the national championship. Those are the goals that the team has set every single year.
It's a standard there.
Hey, the standard has been set. And also, with the veteran leadership that the Buckeyes have on both sides of the ball, I do believe they have a good chance of accomplishing all those goals this year.
I agree. And in fact, I think that's why he went to the portal for a quarterback. And that's why we paid some money to get Seth MacFarlane on the offensive line to be the center. Hinsman was
not guard. I don't know about center, man.
I know he snapped pretty poorly in the Michigan game, but apparently, from what I understand, they're setting him up to play center. If he plays guard, fine. But he's going to be on the line. He's going to be starting, and he's an all SEC guy twice, so it's like the guy can play. And again, bringing in Judkins and things like I think what I love about guys like Judkins and MacFarlane and Howard, these are veteran guys who have been in big games and played big boy college football. This isn't we got this guy from North Dakota State who might provide some depth at tackle. No, we're getting studs to come play now. And we're bringing them in not just as great players, but to be leaders. They have to be leaders. I mean, we got plenty of veteran leadership, but I think Ryan Day sees the writing on the wall for this team coming up. All these guys that are coming back, and he had to know, he knew in advance kind of who was coming back. I mean, the you listed them all. The Tyleik Williams, the whole freaking secondary outside of Proctor, who's termed out, unfortunately. God bless you, Proctor. I wish you the best. God bless you, buddy. All these Lathan Ransom coming back. I mean, I know he got injured, so it made sense for him to come back, but still, it just sets up a perfect situation to where we have so much veteran leadership on this team. Hopefully JT comes back. By the time this comes out, who knows? He hasn't committed yet. Hopefully Trevian comes back, more veteran leadership, but you still have all these guys that have been in the battle in the trenches for years now, and you set up perfectly to go try to win a national title next year. Because I mean, that's part of how Michigan's been doing it. Is their guys have been there 100 years, in that fact, that COVID year really set up a lot of teams nicely because it allowed an extra year for a lot of people. But that's not going to be here anymore. That thing's going away. So now it's time to develop or import the veteran leadership. We have too much of it. We have too many guys who've been in the battles for years now to see a team that will falter in the end. It's exciting. I'm excited about 24 season now coming up. If we didn't have any solutions at quarterback, I might be a little nervous. Devin Brown and Lincoln Kienholz, look, I'm not dogging them, but they didn't do anything in the Missouri game to make me
goodness.
I mean, granted, the offensive line was putrid. It's not all their fault, but they didn't do anything to make me think, okay, we're set going into next year. So bringing Will Howard made the most sense. Like, well, at least we got a guy who's proven, who's a gamer. I'm not saying he's Cam Newton. I'm not saying he's Justin Fields. I'm not saying he's Dwayne Haskins or C.J. Stroud by any stretch. I mean, he's definitely not C.J. Stroud, but he's a good, solid player who's been in big games, got the experience we need at quarterback. If that's what it's about. It's not that Devin Brown and Lincoln aren't talented. It's that they're not experienced. So you don't want to go into next season with an experienced quarterback again. So Will Howard got the experience, got the leadership ability. I love where this is heading.
I do too. I love where it's heading, and I do think we're all going to love where Ryan Day is headed with the Buckeyes offense. No, we're not going to go back to the Urban Meyer days, even though a little bit of Day, a little bit of Urban on the offense. Buddy, I would love that. A little bit of everything. Man, a new offensive coordinator, a legit offensive coordinator, not just in title only, that's going to call plays, that's going to improve the offense. And whenever Ryan Day,
unless it's a crappy play caller,
yeah, hope you don't go that route. Whoever Ryan Day goes out and gets needs to be somebody that's proven himself to be a really good offensive mind. 2, has called plays previously, but also 3, Corey, I have this weird thing about wanting guys that have been previously been head coaches to run that side of the ball.
Yes.
You got Jim Knowles.
It worked for Saban.
Dude. Just follow Saban's model. You'll win a national championship 1 every 3 years. Except for the last year, you missed 3. Oh, how about you retire? Nick Saban, here you go. I know there's other things that are going on with Saban retiring, but the thought of Ohio State finally, Corey, getting an offensive coordinator that's going to call plays, that makes me excited, way more excited than I am about Egbuka returning this year.
Yeah, it's huge. It's look, Ryan Day on its own is a phenomenal play caller.
Yes.
I'm not going to hear anybody say you can't call plays. I'm sorry. When you're head coach and you're the play caller, sometimes you get a little bit too many hats on, and maybe the play calling is a little funky, or the offense can be clunky and whatnot. It's because he's wearing too many hats. But as an offensive coordinator, Ryan Day, just his game plan or offensive play caller, he's one of the best in the country. I'm not even going to hear a debate on that. But I am glad to see him give up play calling, not because he can't do it, because he shouldn't do it as a head coach. And we get a guy in here. This is what gives me confidence, Jay, that he's going to hire somebody good. Play calling is his baby. That's who he's been his entire career at Boston College, San Francisco. I think it was, I'm sorry, not San Francisco, not in the NFL, but Boston College.
Yes.
And then back to Ohio State. He's been a play caller. I mean, he wasn't the primary guy right away. It was Kevin Wilson, but he overtook that and became the guy after they were about to lose him to Mississippi State. But he's been a great play caller. He's ushered in some of the greatest offenses we've ever seen in Ohio State history. That's a fact. That is an absolute, indisputable fact. For him to trust it and give it to somebody, he's got to just trust the guy. And my only question is, Ryan, please don't be butting in during the game and be like, hey, we should be doing this. Just let the guy do his job. Let the guys do. That's the only fear I have with Ryan Day. Is he going to be, wait, no, Ryan, go handle your business. The offensive coordinator's got it, So that's my only concern with it. But he's going to get somebody he absolutely unequivocally trusts to call the plays, because that's who he is.
I got a few names in my head, Corey, that I want to throw at you, and let's hear your thoughts about this guy or that guy being hired as Ohio State's future offensive coordinator, who is also going to call the offensive plays. It's coming up next on Locked On Buckeyes. This episode is brought to you by Gametime. Gametime is a fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and the best price guarantee, Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Gametime has deals on tickets right up to the start of the event. Find exclusive flash deals and sponsor deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. With zone deals, you pick the section and Gametime picks the seats for big time savings. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Corey, before we get into these names, I want to remind everybody that, yes, some of you are wondering what's going on with Brian Hartline. He's the offensive coordinator. I think he's just going to be a co-OC. I think it's going to be a receiving coach.
He's still got learning
co-OC.
to do. Yeah.
A lot of learning. I don't think he may be ready to call plays at a different level. You don't want to call plays for the first time at Ohio State in 2024. You don't want to.
Nope.
Too much. that post-game conversation with Ryan Day, if things go wrong, it's going to be hotter and wilder than any conversation you've had previously. I got a few names, Corey.
All right.
First one's Bill O'Brien. What you think about that guy?
I mean, he's been successful. He was actually a solid head coach at Penn State after the Paterno problem there, or Sandusky. I'm not going to put that on Paterno. I don't know what he knew or what he didn't know. I'm not getting into that, but the Sandusky problem. And for him to even have some winning seasons there after all the penalties they went through, it's pretty insane. Did okay at the NFL level for a little bit, and then he got fired, obviously. Did okay with Alabama. It wouldn't be a sexy hire. It'd be a stable hire. You know, it'd be like, he can do it. And I'm confident he can do it. And by the way, he was correct about Milroe.
Dude, Milroe is... I view Milroe like I view J.J. McCarthy. They don't have a future in the NFL.
I'd say J.J. has a better chance.
Yes.
But I'm not high on J.J. either. But Milroe to me is like, is this a quarterback in today's game? And I mean, even Jalen Hurts at the college level at Alabama, not at Oklahoma where he broke records, but look better than him. Milroe is like the worst quarterback Saban's had at Alabama.
Ooh, we can't forget Blake Sims. We beat him.
Sims was bad, but to me, Sims was better than Milroe. Sims actually was on the practice squad for at the time Redskins, I think. I don't even think Milroe will be on a practice squad.
Yeah, I don't either. Got another name for you. This one's at ESPN, actually in a similar seat that Urban Meyer was in before Urban Meyer came to Columbus to be the head coach in 2012. What about Dan Mullen?
He's intriguing, but I don't know. I don't think his offense fits what Ryan Day wants to do. And although his offense fits what Will Howard's skill set is. So, but that being said, look, I don't know the guy, but I hear a lot of bad things about working for him. I don't want our coaches miserable because, I mean, from what we understand, the guy is going to have autonomy to even fire position coaches if he doesn't like them. I don't want them to be miserable working for the guy. Now, I could be wrong on that, but if that's true, do you want to get a guy in there who's just going to be everybody hates him? Mullen's had good career. I mean, he's been a good coach and stuff like that, but I don't know. Would he work in Columbus? I don't totally think so. I would give it a shot like I give everybody a shot. Even when we hired Kerry Combs, I gave it a shot. Look, I said, hey, look, we'll see what he does. We'll see what he does. And boy, did he disappoint badly. But I would be afraid of just kind of chaos in the locker room with Mullen.
Last one here. This is one that I've seen numerous places. You and I have even talked about it. Toledo head coach Jason Candle.
That's my number one pick. Go get him. He makes about $1 million at Toledo. I know he wants to advance his career, which who wouldn't? I doubt very highly that Series P5 teams are knocking down his door being the coach of Toledo. Probably extremely hard to recruit at Toledo, I would
Yeah.
imagine. Comes to Ohio State, he's going to make upwards of $2 million a year to be the head coach of the offense. He's going to get a look from P5 schools for being the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. The facilities are top notch, second to none. He'll have NIL money coming out of his ears to go recruit who he wants. And I would love it. I'd love a young guy who's out to prove something. To me, that would be the absolute best hire. And he runs a similar system today, from what I understand. So to me, he'd be my first call. But I'm not being paid $9.5, $10 million a year to make these decisions, and Buckeye Nation should be thankful for that. So, but Jason Candle I'd be the most excited they brought him on.
Corey, he checks some boxes for some Ohio State fans. He was born in Ohio.
Yep.
He also played football in Ohio.
Understands the rivalry. You have to be from Ohio.
I'm just trying to check the boxes on people that want to say, hey, we need the Ohio guy in. Okay, cool. He checks that box. He played 1 year at Mountain Union. I think it was 1 year, maybe 2. And Mountain Union played. Okay, cool. You got that there as well.
One of their 17 national title years.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah. And now he's coaching in Ohio already. I'll just keep him in the same state. People will be happy.
And he'll be at the big school in Ohio now.
Yeah, the big school with the big stadium that looks. Someone said the horseshoe looks like a toilet. I never said that on the show.
No, not to me. It's too curved.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. There's one name, though, Corey, that I haven't mentioned. It's not about offense. It's one that is on defense. People will know the name. You may like the name. You may dislike the name. He was a phenomenal football player in the NFL.
Yes,
He's not a Hall of Famer. He will be eventually Jason Taylor. Do you think Ohio State should bring Jason Taylor in? I believe he's coaching at Miami currently, to kind of be the D-line coach with Larry Johnson to eventually take over that role full-time when Larry Johnson retires?
If they can do it tonight. Absolutely. I think he's Hall of Famer now, isn't he?
I can look that up. I don't know. He should be if he's not.
He ended up with like 140 sacks or something like that in the NFL. College was Akron. So he's got Ohio ties, obviously.
He is a Hall of Famer. You're correct.
Go get the freaking Hall of Famer. Imagine him recruiting at Ohio State. Is he even going to have to fly anywhere? It's just,
hey, I got a gold jacket. Come play for me.
Yeah, I was in the NFL. I got 140 sacks. I'm a Hall of Famer. You want to come play for me? Oh, okay. I mean, Berm said it on the podcast, and I give Berm all the credit for this. I love Berm. He does a great job. Said, or it's him and Ward, I think. He said something along the lines of, they need to get a ace recruiter who's just gives a phone call, and you're like, I can't believe I just talked to that guy. Yeah. That is Jason freaking Taylor. Go get him. And look, I love Larry Johnson, but we know the time's coming. It's kind of okay, year to year now, we just keep hearing this. When's it happening? When's it happening? What a beauty. If Ryan Day pulls this off, now I know his son, Jason Taylor's son, just committed to transfer to Miami. So my guess is Miami's trying desperately to keep Jason Taylor there. Maybe I'd say, if I'm Ohio State, I'd say, look, you have an offer. Come here if you want. Be a special team or backup safety for us. Fine. But if Jason Taylor is on the staff as a recruit, oh my goodness, man, it's a no-brainer. $1.5 million. I don't care what you got to pay him. Get him here and let Larry say, look, you can ride off in the sunset. You are an absolute legend. And now we have, if Ryan Day pulls this off, what a boss move, CEO move to say, this is how we're transitioning this position. Instead of just saying cutting Larry Johnson off or waiting till he retires, just say, hey, look, we got a smooth transition to a young, up-and-coming coach in Jason Taylor who can recruit his butt off. And he's got Ohio ties. Bring him home. Do it. I don't care how you have to do it. Do it. I don't care what kind of backdoor deals you got to make. Do it.
I'm with you. You have to do it. And I think the best thing about those two together, Larry Johnson, Jason Taylor, for recruiting purposes, which we all know recruiting is emphasized at a higher level now than it's ever been. If I'm a recruit, let's say I'm a freshman or sophomore that's trying to get my name out there. I'm not really ranked yet, but I know I'm going to be really, really good at some point, or I believe I can be. Ohio State's looking at me, but it's just kind of, I don't know. They got Larry Johnson. He's older. I want somebody younger. Then all of a sudden it's like, wait, my dad knows that guy who's coaching with Larry Johnson. My dad said that guy was a dog on the football field.
He was.
You become a junior, and now you're getting a phone call not from Larry Johnson, who's still out in Columbus. It's Jason Taylor. And you're like, whoa, you're at Ohio State? Oh, I want to play for you. You're calling me, and I'm like, I'm not even ranked. Oh, yeah, I'm a 3-star. Oh, okay, cool. And you keep getting better and better and better. Next thing you know, Taylor's a full-time D-line coach, being able to just make connections all over the country, really all over the world, based on how he can just pick up the phone. It's going to be huge, man. And I like it if that happens and they coach together. That's a way better transition to get a new guy in than what we got with Coombs to Barnes to Knowles. I would like that a whole lot better. Especially going to impact them recruiting, especially Corey, because this current cycle, they're going to need 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 D linemen to fill in because they've dropped the ball over the past couple of years.
Yep. And think about this, Jay. He gets a year to be mentored by Larry as a coach.
Oh gosh. You can't put a value on that, man.
Nope.
It's invaluable.
Young coach like that, and I know he's already a good coach. Don't be wrong. I'm not saying he needs to upgrade dramatically, but what Larry can give you is so invaluable.
Yeah.
And on top of that, if Larry likes you, he can vouch for you in the DMV areas and things like that, And to me, it's the perfect plan. If you can make it happen. Now, granted, it's out of Ryan Day's hands to some degree. Jason's got to make a decision. But if you can get him to do it, oh my gosh, no brainer. I don't care what the cost is. Do it. This offseason would have me just crying tears of joy. Like, wow, Ryan Day got serious, man. He said, all right, enough of this crap. We have got to move forward on a lot of this stuff and get better. And you can't say, if he pulls that off and all the other stuff we think is going on, gets a good OC, you can't say we didn't get better this offseason.
Corey, wish you had more time, man. We're up out of time. You can follow Corey on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Scarlet Great CT. You can watch him, Johnny, and Shane on Ohio State football with Scarlet and Great on the YouTube. They do a phenomenal job covering Ohio State there on their show. You can follow me on X as well at JSteven07. Remember, everyone, Corey, I didn't tell you this. Next week, my wife and I are going on our honeymoon. The show is not going to die. There will be shows all week long talking about Ohio State. Very important off-season topics that we will discuss next week. We're out of here on a Friday, Buckeye fans. We will see you next time.